Hello and welcome. So this is my first video. I thought it would be fun to record the process and learning curve of being a new laundromat owner. A little bit about how I came into this. So I own a few rental properties. I was actually trying to purchase another property this past summer, and the deal ended up going through, issues with the bank, wasted a lot of money, a lot of time. And so I was pretty upset and just kind of browsing for the next opportunity, not really looking for something to jump into, but I don't know, just trying to see what was out there, just so I could look forward instead of just be depressed about this deal that fell through. And funny enough, I saw that there was a laundromat for sale in my area, like 10 minutes away from me. And so I ended up just calling the broker. I don't know anything about buying a business, let alone a laundromat. And so I just called the broker and I was just like, look, like, I'm interested in this. This price looks fair to me. And, can you tell me more about it? Like, what does this process even look like? Like, how do I get a loan for a laundromat? And, he was awesome. He was really helpful. He ended up telling me, giving me a bunch of contacts and people that I could, that could help me kind of close this deal. And I can get into all of that another time. I could do multiple videos on that alone, just purchasing the laundromat. But long story short, after 3 long months, I managed to close on it. And that was this past Friday. So it's Sunday now. So 2 days ago. And so I'm going to be heading over there in a little bit to check the tills and make sure everything's running okay, meet with an employee who I'm going to be having start there, and it should be really fun. So I'm looking forward to it, and I will talk to you there. So this is day 2. So far, so good. We've got all the keys handed over. Did some training to figure out how to maintain machines. I think we have about 35 washers and roughly 20 dryers. Half of the stuff is new, half of the stuff is roughly 3 years old, and then the rest of it's probably original. There's some stuff that's out of service. Most of it's just coin boxes being missing, or some parts are needed that honestly the technician who stopped by said that it wasn't necessary to fix them because the capacity here is more than enough for the kind of traffic that he was seeing. That being said, I do plan on getting everything up and running. I'm going to be starting the wash, dry, fold pretty soon here. Just talked to one of the customers actually who was interested, and so I'm going to be following up with her and seeing if it's going to be a good fit. One unexpected thing, the seller and I didn't come to terms on how the employees were going to be handed over. So when I came here the few times before buying it, I met the existing attendant, and I figured he was introducing me to an employee who was going to be working here, which actually isn't the case. So right now we've decided on having like a 1-week handoff time where I can find someone else who's going to be here consistently. I'm going to be meeting with them today. But overall, I'm definitely happy with the situation in general. The people here are all happy that it's under new management. It wasn't that it was bad before, but as the seller told me, he just didn't have the time to do some of the things that he wanted to do around here. Like a lot of really the visual upkeep. I mean, it's parts of it are paint peeling off the walls, holes in the walls, behind all the dryers, which I can even actually go show now. There's just tons of lint everywhere, which isn't unexpected, but it does need to be taken care of on a more frequent basis. A lot of the stuff, like emptying the lint drawers, mopping, sweeping, taking the garbage out, the attendant was doing really well. So that's the kind of stuff that I'd be looking for the new person to take care of. But right now. It's the fun part. I'm going through and collecting the quarters. I'm about halfway done, and this is what we have so far. It's heavy. I would estimate at least 30 pounds, which is probably about $600 just in quarters. When I get the cash out, I'll obviously know a little bit better, but let me go grab that and count it up. Okay, so that was really slow. Even with me speeding it up 4 times, I'm sure I'll get faster at it. It's just so much more fun to count it by hand than just to put it in a machine and see, or wait until I get to the bank. It also just helps me keep track of how we're doing every day. But nonetheless, the total for that amount, which was from yesterday around 3 o'clock to this morning, was $503. Add that to yesterday morning to when I picked it up in the afternoon, which was $565, ended up totaling $1,068 for the first 24-hour period, which sounds like a lot. It is a lot. A lot of laundromats would kill to have that kind of 24-hour return. Just keep in mind, a lot of that goes towards rent because I'm leasing the premises. I don't own the building. A lot of that goes towards the utilities, so electric and gas and water, and then paying people attendants to keep the place clean and running. But even still, that's above and beyond what goes into the cost of the laundromat. So if I can keep that up, I want to increase that number. It used to be even higher. I think over time, just when it wasn't getting that much attention, they lost probably some customers, but it's pretty much the only laundromat within 2 miles. So I'm hoping that once people get word that there's new management, that things are getting taken care of, that it looks nicer, that it's working better, that people will start coming back. Plus, I even talked to somebody today who's interested in working at the wash, dry, fold, which I'm going to be setting up. So all these numbers don't include other services like the drop-off service. Because it was never running. So I have to start it up. But I'm really excited to start that up. Hopefully I can find a trustworthy person, kind of start small, make sure I get the system in place and that the customers are happy, and then market that to all the surrounding area. So that's kind of the goal there. But either way, definitely happy with that amount. And, I definitely plan on continuing to be transparent, whether I can improve or whether I actually suck at running a laundromat and the profits start to decrease. Hopefully people can learn a little something from my successes and my failures as I kind of learn the ropes in this business. Okay, so I'm finally home from the laundromat. Yesterday I had set up a Google Voice account so that I could have basically a separate number for the business and have it be easily forwarded to my email, my phone, everything like that, without having to set up like a full phone line. Ended up only being like $10 a month. And so I tested it this morning. I just had my wife text me from her phone and worked fine. And then I laminated some paper and just basically put up a sign above the change machine, which is kind of the main place that people will go so that they'll see it. And sure enough, I got 2 texts and a call already today. And I guess what that shows me is, previously there wasn't anything. If there wasn't an attendant there, then people couldn't get helped. So, I'm always looking for ways to improve the business, and the better the business is, the more profit I can make. And, just doing the rough math on that at 2 texts and a call by right now it's 1:30. Probably expect to have a few more throughout the day. That's a lot of customers that need help, and potentially very angry customers, potentially people who aren't going to be coming back. So I'm definitely happy that now these people can get a quick response from me. And I mean, the way I have it set up is I put on there just to give me a text. If I have someone call, I just text them back. So the first one, they just texted me, and I was at the laundromat. They texted me, washer burnt our clothes, washer on fire. I was like, so many things went through my mind at first. The first one was, did these people put burnt clothes in there and now want some compensation? Kind of the cynical side of me. The second is, oh shit, did my washer actually start on fire? And then the third, how can a washing machine start on fire? And not only that, but burn the clothes inside the wet clothes. So I met with them, and I kind of kept going back and forth between the washer and their clothes and figuring out, I'm just trying to put the pieces together. And I saw that the clothes were burnt. And what ended up, and they told me, yeah, I saw fire, on the inside. How is there fire on the inside of a washing machine, which is full of water? And the more they explained it to me, the more I investigate. I looked in closely. And I forgot to mention, prior to that, I had heard some rumbling, dun 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 dun, from over around where they were. But that happens sometimes, and it stopped shortly after. I guess they had turned it off. But what ended up happening is, during that, they had way overfilled it. There was a comforter in there along with a whole bunch of other stuff, and it was the smallest washer that we have. And where the burn mark, where they said they saw fire, I actually saw some singeings, kind of that discoloration on the metal, the rainbow kind of color discoloration, and I saw plastic on there. And I don't know exactly what happened. I'm gonna call the guy I bought it from just to get his feedback on it, and then I put it out of service for now, just in case, so I can have a technician look at it. But I think that there was just so much friction from this machine being overloaded, and that they didn't stop it, that it literally, the inner metal ring got red hot, melted this polyester, and burned their clothes, the washing machine. So that's day 2. I can't imagine what other things I'm gonna learn and find out. I think it was technically their fault for doing that, but nonetheless, I had a conversation with these people. They were kids, washing clothes for their mom. I wasn't grilling them or anything. I want to set a good precedent. I also don't, I wasn't going to say, tell me how much the clothes cost and I'll give you all that money. I reimbursed them for the wash. I gave them, actually, really, it was for the wash and the dry. Most of their clothes ended up being fine, except for the polyester pants. I talked with them about how much clothes to put in the washer at a time. If you're having to stuff it in, that's not a good sign. But they've been going there. They said they go there all the time. And they said they've always been happy with it. And so, I just reading things like how people handle this. A lot of people won't give out money for anything. We are not liable for lost or damaged items, et cetera, et cetera. And I get that. I'm sure that if you dealt with this for 10 years and this happens every day and you're adding up how much money you're doling out, it's not sustainable. However, in this case, I was pretty easily able to see that these people had the washer itself damaged their clothes. They were at fault for overloading it, but I figured that's meeting in the middle. So I don't know. That's what I ended up doing there. Yeah, and then another person just needed help. They were just like, "Oh yeah, I just needed some assistance," and the attendant helped. So the guy that I met with earlier today, who's going to be working there, he's been around there for a long time and was available to work. And so we talked through kind of some of the checklist items and some of the things that he can do while he's there just to assist the customers. And yeah, so, hopefully that works out well. So far, so good. Other than that, I'm going to be stopping there every morning to check in on things. There's a whole bunch of stuff that needs to be done, and I can make probably 100 more videos just of the things that need to be done right now because this place is just in pretty bad shape. But that's pretty much it for today. So thanks for watching.